Okay, so it says apply the indicated sequence of transformations to the square. Let me scroll up so you guys can see the square. The indicated transformations, the first one is, it looks like, now what, can you guys tell me what you think A is without reflection across the y-axis? So what they're saying is, whatever this x value is, I'm going to change it to a positive. So this x value is positive 3, or I'm sorry, the negative of it. So this becomes, so, or another way you could do it is you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's a point right there. And then from here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 units away. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then way down here, you're going to do the same. And then right here. And so you're going to, this is our first shape, perfectly drawn square. Like so. Okay? So that is A. So that's A. I'll put A in here. Then it says rotate 180 degrees around the origin. And so that means we're going to live here. So you notice when it says 180, it doesn't matter if it's clockwise or counterclockwise. They never say it. So this is an interesting thing. My x value is negative 3. So now it's going to become a positive 3. And then my y value is negative 4. So just for argument's sake, and I don't want to pull up all the notes, but how could I figure out the transformation if I wasn't 100% sure? What could I do to figure it out? Do you guys have any ideas? Yeah, you just want to look back in the book, and then, so real quick in your notes, figure out what we do with the xy, okay? So real quick, look up in your book and tell me what page it's on. And it's going to be, I think that's section 2, right? 10.2. And what I'd like for you guys to do is find out the rule for 180 degree rotation. So for that, it's going to look like this. You'll have x, comma, y, and then there'll be a rule. And this is what I want to know. And it'll be under rotation. So go to the section in your book where we have rotation. There was a little table there. Huh? Page 299, you said? Okay. So now I'm doing this on purpose, right? I know what it is, but I want you guys to figure out how to figure it out for yourselves. Because that helps you later on down the road, because Mr. Adams can't come home with you and help you do your homework. I won't come home. So I want to calm down. I want to help you guys become independent learners. All right. So what's the rule? What do I put in here? Do you leave them just x, y? Yeah. So it's just negative x, comma, negative y, right? And she said negative 1, right? That's it. So now, and that's what Mr. Adams was saying. So this point here, if you think about it, this point is negative 3, comma, negative 4. But over here, it's going to be positive 3, positive 4. And that dot goes there. This point here is negative 7, comma, negative 4. So it's going to become positive 7, positive 4. Okay? And then from there, you could just draw the shape. So I'm going to draw my handy-dandy square. So I'm going to go over, wrong color. Oh, Lord. All right, from here. Now, what's sad is I can't tell if that's right or not. I think it is, yeah? Okay. So now that would be B, correct? Okay. So let's label that. That's step B. Now for step C, what does this mean? It's a translation, and I'm going to go 5 units to the left and 6 units down. So from here, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I count that right? Yeah. And so then from here, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'm going to draw a square through all those shapes. Okay. So that's C. So far, so good. And then for D, what is D asking us to do? Dilation. Now it's between 0 and 1. It's a fraction, so what does that mean? It makes it smaller. Oh. So if this point here is 2, 2, well, no, this one is 2, 2. What's 1/2 of 2? 1. So then I have a point at 1, 1, yes? And there'll be another one here, and another one here, and another one here. So that's the final shape, I think. And then that one is D. Okay? So the little pink one is the final answer. Does that make sense? So on your homework, they're going to give you it won't be 4. I think at most it's 3 steps. Or they'll give you a shape, and they'll give you the image and the pre-image, and they're going to ask you in your multiple choice, you got to figure out which one it is. No, not yet. We're almost done. I got to give you the recipe. All right, so it says identify the sequence of the 2 transformations that will transform A given the figure. So what we're doing is we're going from A to B. So what do you notice about A and B, first of all? What did they do? Different orientation, so that means there was some sort of flip, right? So I'm going to say and I'll just write all this out in... Reflection and rotation. Yeah. Or reflection. Now, your answers might vary, but yeah, there's definitely a reflection. So let's just do that. So the reflection, any type of reflection, can occur. Now, it's a reflection across the x-axis, right? So because we're facing this way, and then we're facing this way. See how my thumb is? That's a reflection. I'm sorry, I mispronounced it. Not the y-axis, the x-axis. I'm sorry. So it's reflected about the x-axis. Okay? That's what we're doing. So this is why I misspoke. Because when we reflect across the x-axis, what do we change? Yeah, we do a negative of the y value. So then once you do that, it kind of becomes a shape like this. And then I just have to translate it over. I'm wondering if I should draw the shape or not. Yeah, so when I do that, what I end up with is a shape like this. I'm going to delete this. You don't need to draw this. Well, you probably should, but it's going to get messy in a second. So that's that first step. And then I just got to figure out, well, how far did I move to get to where I needed to be? So in the next step, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be x plus 5, right? And then I went down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be y minus 6, right? So that's it. See how I did that? I'm going to erase this image. So now C, to get from A to C, what did they do? They rotated it. Not 180, though. Oh, wait, no. 90. They did rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise. Good. I'm glad you caught that. So they rotated it counterclockwise. But also you have to put it into place. So what the textbook says, and like I said, there's no right or wrong. I'm just going to write down what's in the textbook. In the textbook, what they did is they shifted up 6 units first. So they translated up 6 units. And what that does is, and I'm going to draw the image again, but I'm going to erase it. You don't need to draw it. So when they shifted up 6 units, you have this little thing. You have a shape like this. And then when you rotate it the 90 degrees, you get C. Does that make sense? So to rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, what do? It should be on page 299. Look it up.
90 degrees counterclockwise. So you flip them and the Y is negative.
So do you put negative Y here?
Yeah, negative Y comes out.
Does that make sense?
Well,
Okay. Now the back of the textbook just says rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. So we'll just say 90 degrees counterclockwise. Okay, now for D, what did we do? Dilation. So we know that it's a dilation. We have to figure out what the scale factor is, right? So here's the easy way to do it. Just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. That one's 6 units. This one is, you got a half. So 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, and another half is 9. Now, what do I multiply 6 by to get 9? Well, we don't know, so I'm going to solve. Remember when you said, when am I going to use this in the real world? X equals 1.5. So your scale factor is 1.5. So the first thing they did is they dilated. And then they did some sort of translation. So the dilation of 6.5 would make it bigger. And then I'm just going to write it down. It'd be X plus 3, comma, Y plus 5. Okay? So once they dilated it, it would be bigger. It would stretch out. And then they moved it over 3 units to the right and moved it up. And you could kind of see that it moved 1.5, but then when you stretch it the other 1.5. Number 5 says if these two figures are similar, but not congruent, what do you know about the sequence? There's one dilation. Dilation makes them similar. So that's it. There's at least one dilation. That concludes your lesson. Your homework is